So we have the 11E notes today, and I know this is going to make you sad, but this is the last set of notes that we're going to do in Algebra 1. To solve rational equations, we're going to do these things. We're going to find the common denominator of the equation, both sides, both the left and the right. So here, you see these and then the 3x over here. So you've got to find it for all sides combined. Then we're going to multiply through, so we're going to multiply both the left side and the right side by that common denominator, because whatever we do to the left, we also have to do exactly the same thing to the right, and that is going to clear, there's that word, clear the fractions. Then we're going to simplify each side of the equation. Then once it's simplified, we're going to solve. So if there's an x squared term, you're going to set the equation equal to 0 and solve by factoring. And if there's only an x term, no square on it, isolate the x or get x by itself to solve. All right, I'm going to let you do example 1a as a video check. So I'm just going to write video check right there. And then I'm going to do example b. All right, so I have a 12, a 2x, and a 3x. So my common denominator for the 3, 2, and 12 will be a 12. Then I also need to have an x in my common denominator. So I'm going to take this 12x and I'm going to multiply it times every term. So when I multiply the 12x times the 12s cancel, leaves me with an x, so that is going to be 5x. Minus, when I multiply the 12x times the 2x, the 2 and the 12 cancel and leaves me with a 6, and then the x cancels, so I have 6 times 1 is 6, is equal to, when I multiply the 12x times the last fraction, 3 is going to go into 12 4 times, and the x's are going to cancel. So I have 4 times 1 is 4. All right, so I just have an x, so I'm going to isolate it, and I'm going to add the 6 to both sides, so I get 5x is equal to 10. Then divide both sides by 5. And that's going to give me that x is equal to 2. So for example 2, common denominator, remember that this is a group. I have an x minus 2 and an 8, so my common denominator is going to be 8, both of those factors. When I multiply it times the first fraction, my x minus 2's cancel, and I'm left with an 8, so that gives me 8 times 1 is 8. When I multiply this times my second fraction, the 8's cancel, and I'm left with x minus 2. So I'm going to put this here, and that's going to give me then x squared minus 2x. All right, so now I need to solve it, and I have an x squared. So if I have an x squared, then I want a 0 on this side, so I'm going to subtract the 8. It's going to give me 0 is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 8. I'm going to do the fast AC. So two numbers, so that'll be x and x. Two numbers that multiply to be negative 8, add to negative 2 would be negative 4 and positive 2. So I get this. I'm not finished solving yet. I've factored. I'm going to set each factor then equal to 0. And I get that x is 4 and x is equal to negative 2. B, same thing. Remember that with a plus that this is kind of a group. So my LCD has an x plus 2 factor and an x plus 1 factor. When I multiply times the first fraction, the x plus 2's cancel, and I'm left with x minus 1 here. And when I multiply times the second one, my x plus 1's cancel, and I'm left with x plus 2 there. So it's going to cancel out those denominators, and I'm going to get 4x minus 4 is equal to 3x plus 6. So when I multiply, it actually cancels that out. And I'm left with the x. Oops, did I do that wrong? Looks like I should be left with an x plus 1, so that should have been a plus 4 there. And when I multiply here, the x plus 1 crosses out, and I'm left with the x plus 2 that I'm going to distribute. This time I don't have a square, so I'm going to isolate my x's, going to subtract my 3x and get x over here. Subtract my 4 and get -2 on that side. All right, so pick up on the next video.